Hello, welcome. So here we are. Hello, Stacey.
Hi, Olivia.
So Stacey is the owner of Alfalfa Social Media, which is a social media company based in Bayside, Melbourne. And Stacey helps people mainly from small and medium-sized businesses and also some community groups with their social media strategy. So her services include social media strategy and setup, content creation and management, social media training, one-on-one and in groups. Actually, you're heading off to a group training after this, aren't you?
Yeah, that's right, I am, yeah.
That's why we've made it at this time, so you've got time to fit that in. Newsletter design and delivery, blog post writing, and social media audits. So myself, I've had one-on-one training with Stacey, and straight away I got lots of ideas out of that, made some changes, and I have very quickly actually noticed improved engagement in the groups that I
That's good to hear.
that I manage. So thank you for that.
Good.
So, and thank you for agreeing to chat with us today.
Oh, thank you. It's good to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
So let's just jump straight into it. I think there's a lot of interest in this because, well, Facebook is so widely used. How about I hand over to you to explain to us why we should use Facebook in our social media strategy?
Okay, thanks, Olivia. I think if you're looking to do anything on social, Facebook's a good starting point, purely because there's so many people using it. There's something like 17 million active Facebook accounts in Australia, and when you think we've got a population of 25 million, that's something like 75% of, 75% of all Australians are using Facebook. So regardless of what your business is, there might be other platforms that are also applicable, but Facebook's usually the best starting point for most businesses. Mm-hmm. The other reason is that it's used really widely across most age groups. Now, the way that different age groups use it is quite different. So the way perhaps teens use Facebook is really different to the way that older people use Facebook. But it's hard to get away from that fact that it's ubiquitous. Everyone, or most people, are using Facebook if they're using social media at all.
Actually, I found that interesting when you told me about the young people using Facebook.
Yeah.
You know, that they'll do it within groups.
Right.
So you never know, so you can't see what they're up to.
Yeah, look, they're using the messenger function or the group function. They're young people are, when I say young people, I mean like teenagers. They very rarely post on their personal pages, but they'll use the messenger function or they'll use the group function for their sporting groups or class groups and so forth. Yeah, whereas it tends to be the older people, and by that I mean sort of my age group and beyond, that tend to use it in its more traditional function, in that posting stuff on pages and personal profiles and so forth.
Okay. So you basically answered so that all it's suitable for all businesses then. So in that case, it wouldn't matter if you're business to business or business to customer or whatever like that, because if you're wanting to reach people, they're all there, aren't they?
Yeah, they're all there. And look, there are other platforms that if you've got a really niche business, like if you're selling a really visual product, let's say you're a cafe or you sell shoes or something like that, or you're a hair salon, then Instagram's going to be a good choice. Mm-hmm. If you're professional services, you might want to look more at LinkedIn. But in general terms, yeah, Facebook's it's pretty much if you've got to choose one platform, that's what I'd choose.
Yeah, that's it's just my favourite. It's the way that you can interact with people.
Yeah, and
much
there's
more. I find
the functionality is so much greater than with other platforms. There's so many different options, from pages to personal profiles to groups and messenger.
Yeah,
there's quite a lot of functionality.
There definitely is. All right. So, and if anyone's got questions, let us know, and also let us know to make sure you can hear us and everything's working. But hopefully it is. We'll just keep going. So, what types of content should people be posting?
This is one of the big things that I always tell people, and you'll remember that we spoke about this when we met. Mm-hmm. There's a general rule of thumb, the 30-30-30-10 rule, and the idea is that 30% of your content should be what a lot of businesses post most of the time, which is that overtly, directly promotional content. You know, the buy my stuff, go to my website and buy my shoes, come to my cafe, whatever it might be. You know, that overtly sales message stuff. that should really only be about 30% of your content. The next 30 is still stuff that's about your business and would still click through to your website ideally, and that might be stuff that provides people with a bit more roundness in understanding about your business. So it might be things about key staff members, it might be your opening hours, it might be your returns policy, it might be the philosophy behind your business, that kind of stuff. So still very much about the business, but just not with that, not hammering home that sales message. The third 30%, this is the value add segment. So this is where you're sharing content that doesn't relate to your business directly, but does relate to your audience. So it's where you're showing them that you understand what pains them, you understand what their interests are, and you're providing them information that shows that that you understand what they're all about. And by doing that, you're building trust with your audience. And so when they do come to look for a service or a product, they've developed this understanding of your business as one that understands them and is knowledgeable in their field. And so you've built up that trust with them. So therefore, hopefully, they're going to buy from you because you're seen as a trusted supplier or a trusted vendor. And the last segment, and I always call this the cat video segment, but it's not literally a cat video, although in my case it probably would be a cat video. That's the segment that's really about personalising and humanising your business. So it might be a cat video, and look, who doesn't like a cat riding on a vacuum cleaner? But it might also be just a pretty picture of a sunset. It might be something funny you've seen. It might be an inspirational quote. It might be a meme. So it's not stuff that is directly tied to your business, but it does a couple of things. So first of all, it humanises your business. It shows that there's real people behind this page, there's real people behind this business that they like a laugh like everybody else, they like sunsets, they like funny things. But it's often that content that generates engagement, because people will like or comment on that, or they will share it, or they will tag their friends. And so because that's getting a degree of engagement, when you do then come post next time, which might be that sales message, or it might be that message that's a bit more about your business, more people are going to see that because of the engagement level generated by that 10%.
So is that in terms of also like the algorithm and all that kind of thing? Is that because you've created some engagement, then other things you post will actually come up on that those people's or more people's feeds? Yeah,
that's exactly right. And look, engagement is absolutely the name of the game. That's what's going to make sure that people firstly see your content, but then also build an understanding of you and your business through that content that you're sharing. So if I can touch a bit on the 2018 update that was such a big issue in Facebook land, that changed the way the algorithm works to give a lot more prominence to engagement. So the things that people are commenting on, and commenting primarily as opposed to liking or tagging people or sharing, commenting is really what we're wanting.
Okay.
That the algorithm changed to give much more prominence to that. So the idea is that Facebook wants to reward people that are providing content that that resonates with people, that is meaningful to people, and that's the word that they use, is meaningful. So they want people to post content that's going to be really meaningful to their audience. So not every piece of content saying that you've got new couches that have just come into the store is going to be meaningful to everybody. Yeah. So look, it would be great if you're selling those couches that it is meaningful and that people are going to like and comment and share that and buy your couches. But often it needs to be that other content that actually drives that engagement. So that's where you need to be really creative and find ways to encourage people to interact with the stuff that you're posting.
Okay, and what about what form of content? Like I hear a lot about videos, a lot of people do lives, there's the text, or photos, or...
Video is absolutely king, and the king of kings is exactly what we're doing now, live. Look, live's not everybody's cup of tea, as we spoke about, but it's if you're willing to do it, and you're willing to put yourself out there, then the algorithm really rewards live video. It rewards also non-live video, but not to the degree that that live is given. So hopefully there's lots of people out there seeing this now as a result of the algorithm. But also, yes, so secondary to live is just your static video. And beyond that, look, I in my experience, I don't see a huge amount of difference between whether you post link content or photo content. I think the nature of the content and the quality of the content and the engagement that it generates will always take prominence over whether it's a link to a website or whether it's a photo or whether it's just a static text post.
It's
So
the
I think-
actual content itself
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
whether it appeals.
Yeah, whether it appeals and whether it actually generates engagement. Yeah.
All right. Okay, so, and one of the things people try to do on their pages or groups is to get more followers and more engagement. Are there any tips that you've got on how to do that?
Oh, look, that's a really tough one, isn't it? Look, I think one of my favourite things to do with respect to trying to generate a bit of engagement is actually frame a post as a question. So rather than make a statement like new shoes in the store, come and check them out, it might be something like we've got a great new range of shoes, tell us which one is your favourite, or tell us what colour you're looking for this summer, or something like that. It's a bit of human nature that if you ask a question, people are more likely to respond rather than if you just make a statement. So one of the things I like to do to really encourage engagement is try and frame posts as a question. Often,
I love that, actually. It makes sense, yeah.
it does make sense, doesn't it? And look, I understand that often people are reluctant to be the first person to comment, and so that can be a little bit tricky. But if you have a band of followers or people that you work with or your friends, if you lean on them, if you can get them to be the first person to comment, often the other ones will follow on from that. Another thing I like to do is actually leverage your networks in terms of your pages. Look, you can only lean on your friends so much, but you know, if you can encourage them to perhaps share your content, share your page. Most of us have friends that operate in a similar demographic and geographic area, so often their friends are going to be the people that are perhaps your potential customers, depending on the nature of your business and your audience. Another thing I like to do is
I was just thinking, and I can quickly say, well, we've got a group right here, so why don't we do that and help each other out? We could share each other's posts, and you know, that's what we do. We can, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, type of thing.
A lot of business networks are doing that really effectively, where they do, they make it part of the way they operate, is that they do try and encourage sharing of each other's content. And I suppose you need to be mindful of what's relevant and appropriate to you and your audience and your page and your personal profile, if that's how you do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good way it is a good way to do it.
And going back to the question thing, that when you think about it, is common sense. Often when you hear a good idea, you think, oh gosh, that's obvious, I should have realised that all along, because it's a conversation. And
That's
what do you
right.
do when you start a conversation? You ask questions.
Yes,
So
absolutely. And I think on that, if someone does comment and says, I'm hoping to buy some yellow shoes this summer, respond to their comment. I mean, it is a two-way conversation. If you ask someone a question and they answered it, you wouldn't just turn and walk away. Or you'd be a bit rude if you did. So comment on their comment and try and keep that conversation going, because the longer a post is live in the algorithm, the more it's going to be seen. And one of the things Facebook did do as part of that 2018 update was actually not just look at the amount of engagement that any particular post receives, but actually how long people interact with it. So whether they just comment once and go away, or whether they come back and comment again, and that all feeds into how long something stays quite high in the newsfeed.
So what should the end game be? What are we doing all this? What are we trying to get out of Facebook? It sounds like engagement.
Absolutely.
And
look, engagement absolutely is
we all want sales in the end, don't we?
We do want sales. And look, I always tell people that the end game is Facebook is not and any form of social media is not your end game in itself. Mm-hmm. The idea is to take people into the asset that you own. So you don't own your Facebook page, you don't own your Twitter profile, Instagram profile. They are all owned by the platform themselves. Mm-hmm. So I think it's important that you try and bring people back to the asset that you own. So that might be your website, it might be your physical storefront. So I think if you can be encouraging people to come, so let's say you're posting, whenever you post content that is directly relevant to your business, make sure that it links through to your website. Encourage people to actually come into your store, which, I mean, that's a no-brainer. If you're advertising a store, you want people to come in. But social media is not, it's a marketing channel like any other, and it really should not be considered the end game. I see a lot of people that get really hung up on how many page likes they have. And it can be a bit of a vanity metric. It's lovely to look at your page and say, look, I've got 50,000 likers, and that's great. Good on you if you do. But I always think you're better off to have a smaller body of genuine customers and potential customers. And really the thing you should be looking at is how many of those people that are seeing our content are then acting on it. How many of them are either engaging with it, or how many of them are coming into our store or visiting our website. So it really should be seen as a vehicle to drive people through to those assets that you own.
What about, let's talk about paid advertising.
Contentious one.
Because, all right, that's all strategy and how to make Facebook all very interesting and engaging. And that's probably what I focus on mostly. Hi, Nicola. But how important is spending money?
Look, I think
and how to do it best.
These days, it's very hard to not spend money, especially if you're building a new page and you've started off at 0 likers. It's very, very hard to grow without spending some money. Part of Facebook's changes, and when they introduced paid advertising back in 2014, was the organic reach, so the reach that people get without advertising, fell dramatically, and has continued to fall ever since. So it's really important, I think, that people consider advertising as part of their strategy. A lot of people start off with boosting posts, and a lot of people look down on that and say, well, boosting posts it's too simplistic. You can't target people. You can't develop a bidding strategy, which is all correct. But you can pay to expand the reach of your posts through the ad manager platform rather than through just the boost post on your page. I like to pay to expand the reach of well-performing posts. So a couple of things around that. I never boost a post from the moment that I post it. I'll let it run for a few days and then let it exhaust that organic reach, or the reach that you would get through engagement. Then I would actually boost it through the ad manager platform, so you get that full functionality where you can really target your audience. You can set things like your bidding strategy and the frequency around how often people are going to see that piece of content. So I'm a big fan of actually extending the reach of well-performing content. My default strategy is to spend a mixture on ads that are designed to take people to your website. So the ads you see that when you click on them, you will click through to a website. The benefit of those ads is, for one, they're taking you through to the content that you own, so your website, but also they do have a like page on them as well. So it can get a bit of a double bang for your buck, in that you get the option to capture the like audience, but you also get the option to take people through to your website. Having said that, the like button on a website click ad performs really poorly. I don't know why. So if you do a page like ad where people are actually going to like the objective is that people are going to like your page, you'll get many more likes from that than if you do a website link ad that also has a like button on it, which is very strange. So generally my strategy is to devote most of the budget through to taking people to a website, but I'll also devote some of the budget through to actually increasing the number of likes on a page.
And that has to be a specific,
yes,
focused ad just for that purpose.
Just for that purpose, that's exactly right. These days ads have so much targeting. So it used to be that they appeared on Facebook in the news feeder in the right-hand column, and that was pretty much it. Then it was expanded to include Instagram advertising and audience networks and Messenger. I'm still in two minds about Messenger and about ads appearing in Messenger.
I ignore them. I'm not a fan of it appearing in Messenger.
No, I don't like it at all, because if I get a message, I think it's a friend or...
It's disappointing.
I think that someone wants to talk to me, and then, it's an ad. Yeah, I get disappointed. So, having said that, I have found that they do work quite well, though, in that people will respond to them. So, as much as everyone I speak to finds them annoying,
but they get results.
They seem to work, yeah. And the ads in Instagram stories is another one that I'm finding is working really well as well.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yes, you actually, Stacey, just so everyone knows, you do more than Facebook. I just decided we should focus on one thing,
because
there's
Facebook,
not, and there's only so much time, you can only cover so much, so I thought we'd focus it. But you do, what are the other platforms you also work with?
I work with LinkedIn, Twitter and Instagram primarily. Look, Facebook, most of the work I do is on Facebook for all the reasons that we spoke about at the start of the day. But often I do a lot of strategy work, so businesses, I'll help people actually develop a strategy, like a go-to guide on what days they should be posting, the sort of content they should be posting, where their audience is hanging at, all that sort of stuff. So often that strategy leads to businesses working elsewhere other than Facebook, or usually Facebook and something else rather than ignoring it entirely. Yeah, so.
One more thing, which we should probably... been going for a little while, so we'll probably need to wrap up soon, but it's gone fast. There is one question I nearly forgot, and I think this might be this may not be your area. It might be a related area, or you might know, and I nearly forgot about it. But Mark, one of our members here, the work cover guy, he was asking about whether there's a way to get notifications for keywords. For example, if you want to be able to comment every time someone searches work cover, or every time everyone makes a post in a group on work cover, or who's a good, social media consultant, or who's a great person for office furniture. So if you want to sort of get some sort of notification, is there anything? I think it would be a third party.
Yeah, look, I think I'm not aware of any, but gee, I wish there was. I think that sounds fantastic. It's almost like you need like an RSS feed for Facebook, so something that is going to tell you when there's notifications on a topic. I would love, if someone out there knows more about that than I do, I'd love to hear it. I'm not aware. I know, and I think this was addressed when it was discussed online, you can search, just put the term in the search bar, and it will bring up lots of things. Like if I put in social media consultant Melbourne, I hope I'd come up in the results, but all posts and pages and groups, depending on the privacy setting of the group, will appear in those search results.
Yeah, and I use that.
Yeah, I use that, and I find that's quite interesting. There's no way to automate it though. I don't think you can't save your search, or
you can use filters. If you actually find the post in our group that Mark Stippick asked, you can see I put a bunch of screenshots in how to search
Yeah,
in case you're wondering.
That was really useful.
Anyone out there? But yeah, just to be it'd be nice to be the first one to comment when someone's saying, "Oh, who do you recommend for social media or something?"
Yeah. Yeah.
I have this vague recollection that someone spoke to me at a networking event. So if anyone there, we might have some people in the. I generally go to Dandenong Chamber of Commerce. So if anyone, and there's a few members here from in the group from there. So if anyone knows who deals with like a software that, I think you were saying things like it can tell you when someone's talking about your business or.
Okay.
There might be something I should have paid more attention. It wasn't on my radar at the time, so I didn't think I'd need to know. But now I'd like to find out what that was. Yeah. Anyway, is there anything you'd like to add before we wrap up?
Look, we haven't talked about groups. Can we talk?
Oh yes, about groups? Yes. Let's talk about groups.
Again, getting back to that 2018 update, groups have become ever more important because page reach is continuing to fall, and also part of that update said we will give more prominence to groups. Groups are there, and there's a million of them out there. I'm a member of a million different groups, and there's a group for just about every topic and every geographic area you can possibly think of. Groups are fantastic because they allow people to just what we were talking about, ask questions and make recommendations. So, look, I can sit here and say, you should use Alfalfa social media because I offer a great service, but of course I'm going to say that it's my business. But if it's coming from other people in a group, so if someone does say, I'm looking for someone for my social media, and you and 5 other people say, go and speak to Stacey, it carries a lot more weight. So it offers that interaction where you can show that you're that knowledgeable, helpful person. So, and also have that opportunity to have people come to you because you're being recommended by others. And it's also, the groups are so useful. The things like the discussion we were just having about finding things on Facebook, groups really allow you that opportunity to interact with like-minded people that are operating either in a similar industry or a similar geographic area, and you develop a bit of a referral network through them. So I can't speak highly enough about group interaction. I mean, we met through a group. So yeah, I would, anyone operating a business page or if trying to expand the reach of their business, have a look at the groups that are relevant to your area, to your industry. There's a lot of women in business groups. There's lots of different angles you can take to determining what sort of groups are going to be most relevant. But yeah, I would definitely try and spend some time in those groups.
So if anyone's listening to this later in a podcast, join Semba in Facebook.
Seamless.
But definitely, actually, I know some of my friends and people that I know or that I just observe. If you know something, share the knowledge in groups, and then you become known as a trusted person, as a knowledgeable, smart person. And so yes, share your knowledge. And ask questions.
Comes back to reward you.
Yeah. All right. So, do we have any questions out there before we wrap it up? I think. Anything else you want to add?
No, that's it. Thank you for having me. It's been
pleasure.
fun.
Yeah, it's been great. Yeah. Well done. Well, thank you everyone for joining us, and have a great day and a great weekend.
Yes,
and we'll post. If anyone wants to contact you for more information, of course they can. It's Stacey Murray from Alfalfa Social Media.
That's right.
Google it or search it in Facebook. Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.